Yo, what's up, everybody? And thank you for tuning in to the last episode review of Sistas for Season 5. This is episode 22, entitled Too Little Too Late. If this is your first time coming to my channel, welcome. If you are a returning family member, you already know what it is and what it always will be. I don't know how long this review is going to be because I didn't want to talk about Sistas for a little minute. I did a live with Erica Vane. I will pin that video to this particular video and you guys go check it out. It's like a little over 2 hours. We talked about Sistas and all that other stuff, season 5 and all of that. And I just didn't want to talk about it no more. But and I wasn't even going to do a review, but many of you guys reached out to me and I just want to give you my thoughts on this lackluster bore of an episode. Like I said, I don't know how long it's going to be, but we just going to see what it do. So we pick up with Fatima and Zach. And he's at her job trying to get to the bottom of this character of Joey and this 9-year-old son of hers. And the way Fatima was acting, I knew like, okay, this can't possibly be a child because she's so nonchalant about it. She's really not taking this seriously. And Zach is over there being temper tantrum Zach and about to blow a gasket. And we come to find out that Fatima is playing a joke on Zach, which I thought was hella childish and immature. My whole thing is, when did Fatima find the time to even set this whole thing up? For the past few episodes, she was upset with Zach over a picture that she had no context about, to the point where she took her engagement ring off. You thinking this man cheating on you? Like, it was a lot. And then to pull a joke like this, I thought it was incredibly stupid. And I know I had people to message me about, Fatima ain't that type of woman. This was funny. I thought it was hilarious. Well, that's fine. I didn't think it was hilarious. And I feel like if Danny, Sabrina, Andy, or Karen would have done this, the response would have been completely different. Oh, they so childish. They so That's exactly what it would have been. But because it's Fatima, it was funny. It wasn't funny. Like, don't get me wrong. Zach is hella childish. And he acts like a child a lot of the times, but he is a grown man. And my whole thing with Fatima, like, she wanted him to feel what it was like for her. And I'm like, that's the way that you express yourself. You couldn't allow yourself to be vulnerable and tell him how this was bothering you, how this is a lot for any woman to, to take on or to be a part of in a newly relationship. I just felt like Tyler just played in our faces, and that could have been written a whole lot better, but it wasn't. I'm like, you are deciding to stick with Zach throughout all this drama that is coming along with the baby mamas and these babies and his past relationships and stuff like that. You needed to teach him a lesson. And this man still don't know everything there is to know about Fatima. She still hasn't told him about this abortion, or I guess her willingness to be so eager with Ian's mother during this process. For those who watch Fatima, I'm just like, you're not being honest. And Fatima still doesn't want to talk about the things she doesn't want to talk about. But when it comes to him, I just didn't like this whole dynamic. I thought it was incredibly stupid. Just my personal opinion. There just could have been a better way for her to express herself. I just don't like it. I didn't like it. So we get to Karen, Jennifer, and Aaron. And we didn't get much info on who exactly this Jennifer character is, other than the fact that Aaron told Karen that she's a stalker. Now, not only did Jennifer slap Aaron, but she punched the hell out of him too. And I was like, Aaron, push her or something. Curly Sue deserves to get pushed. I wouldn't even been upset if he would have done that. This is how I feel about this. I do not condone domestic violence of any sort. However, I am a firm believer that if you throw a punch, if you big and bad enough to hit, you be big and bad enough to take one. I don't want to get hit, so I don't put my hands on people's children. Period. That's just me. That ain't even my ministry. If we can't talk it out, or you make me that angry that I want to put hands on you, I don't need to be around you, and you don't need to be in my space either. So like I said, we find out that Jennifer is a stalker. She's telling Karen not to trust Aaron. Girl, run away. He gonna make you think you the only one, and you need to tell her what you did or whatever. So when Jennifer finally leaves, Aaron tells Karen to just trust him. And I said, at this point, some people, don't agree with this. But I was like, at this point, Karen, he done stuck it out with you in the mud. Trust him. And when he said he was going to go and file a restraining order against this person, this is obviously someone that he definitely knows. Like, she's not a stranger. He knows her name. I don't know how much of his life this woman has been a part of. But we're not going to find that out until season 6, possibly season 6, episode 17. We know how Tyler do. And so Pam is always on 10. So when Aaron leaves and when Jennifer leaves, Pam tells Karen that, she has a girl that has a homegirl that works at the police department. She got the girl license plate. I ain't gonna lie. That would have been me. That would have been me. I'm gonna get them license plates. And it's automatic because my uncle, when I was a kid, I'll never forget, I was watching The Thin Line Between Love and Hate. And there's a scene where Martin Lawrence is getting the license plate of the character Brandy. And my uncle was like, what was those license plates number? And I knew it. So now I'm to the point where I like to be right. I don't like to be wrong. So I pay close attention to detail. I would have been like, Pam, I would have had them plates too. Baby, we looking this up. We finna find out who Miss Lady is. That would have been me. I ain't have no problem with Pam doing that. I thought it was exactly what needed to be done. So we get to, it's a lot of stuff I'm not going to talk about in this review, just letting you guys know. So we're going to get to, I'm going to leave the scene with Danny with the girls, the intervention. I'm going to leave that for last. So we see Heather, she goes over to Zach Dum's house. And basically, I don't like the way that Tyler has written Heather. I don't even like the way that he's written Deja, because when Deja was first introduced on Zatima, she wasn't this thirsty woman that we see now, and I hate that. It's almost like for these women to like Zach or have any involvement with Zach, they got to be considered hood rat, which I don't like that term, but that's what Tyler is using on the show. Or these ghetto women. It's like, why can't they just be nice women, just young women? And I just hate how he has written them. But Heather comes in, and basically Zach is acting like a child. He's kicking, huffing and puffing. I can't stand when men do this, because you weren't kicking, huffing, and puffing when you was having unprotected sex with her. You weren't kicking, huffing, and puffing when you was making that child. You weren't doing all that now, so don't do that. You wasn't doing that then, so don't do that now. And so basically, they told her that they wanted her to agree to Zach paying her $2,000 a month in child support. And at first, I thought Heather was going to be like, kiss my ass, you trying me. But she was like, oh yeah, where do I sign $2,000 for real? I said, what kind of mess? Like, are you serious? And Fatima was like, if you don't sign, you ain't getting S. This is me. I hate the fact that it seems like Zach cannot take care of his own affairs. That has always been my main issue with Zach and Fatima as a couple. I feel like Fatima overstepped so much. She didn't even tell Zach that Heather was coming over. She had already invited her, told her what time to be there. Like, you were not involved in the making of this child. I'm going to need you to fall back. And if your man can't take care of his responsibilities as a man, why are you with him? I still stand on the fact, I know there are so many people who rock with Zach and Fatima, and that's fine. For me as a viewer, it doesn't make sense for Fatima to be with Zach. I don't understand it. I just don't. Fatima acts like his mom / bodyguard / financial advisor / counselor / she just too much. Like, sit the hell down. She does entirely too much. Heather was like, oh yeah, you can see, because he was like, and I want to see my son. I want to see my son. Shut up. I was like, Zach, you ain't wanting to see this child this whole time. Everything has been about your money, your money, your money. Now you want to be all about your son, your son, your son. Shut the hell up. Oh yeah, you can see him anytime you want to. I mean, I can make it happen right now if you want. I said, Tyler, it was this episode got on my nerves. This episode got on my entire nerves. The last scene of the episode was, first of all, I don't even understand why Maurice even went to go see Q. You're out on bail. You need to keep yourself away from trouble. You going over there. You shouldn't even be there. Q has a gun, pulls the gun out, and they're tussling and all of that. The gun goes off, and we'll find out next season if Maurice was shot, if Q was shot, or it just was shot in the air. We don't know. That's how it ended. This episode was trash, okay? Pure trash. So, the scene I really want to talk about is the scene with Danny, Andy, Sabrina, and Karen. So, Sabrina is the one who orchestrated this intervention, right? And this scene was a lot. It was a lot to unpack. It was a lot of new information that we received as viewers, right? I feel like there should have been more time invested on this particular scene, but in true Tyler fashion, it brought up some hard-hitting points, and then that was it. Andy, I don't even know why the hell she was there. This was an intervention, and Andy came in asking where the alcohol was. Ma'am, alcohol? Get the hell out of here. Y'all are there because supposedly you're worried and concerned about your friend who drinks too much and smokes too much, and you're coming in here asking about alcohol. Andy could have stayed her ass home. That's how I feel. Sabrina, she's the person who orchestrated this entire thing, and she offered nothing to the conversation. Sometimes I feel like even though Sabrina is one of the main characters, sometimes it feels like she's a waste of damn space. Why are you there? Why are you there? Some people may not agree with this, but I feel like in this intervention, to me, Karen was the one who offered the most concern for Danny, letting her know that we still your sisters, like we still here for you. These are things that you were doing in college. Now, this is why I have an issue with Danny, and I can't stand people like this. Danny proceeds to direct her anger and her misguided emotions toward the women. Now, everything that Danny stated to these women is absolutely correct. It was accurate. However, her intention was to hurt them. And Danny has shown us countless of times throughout these 5 seasons that she can dish it, but damn it, she can't take it. And I have a huge problem with people like that. Danny has clowned Sabrina for dealing with Calvin since season 1. Even after Sabrina deeply expressed how she felt to Danny when she says certain things and how it makes her feel, Danny still does it. She completely disregarded this woman's feelings. She got mad at Karen and called her a B, the rest. After Karen informed her about Preston dating one of her clients. She completely disrespected this woman, called her out her name, all because she didn't want to deal with the fact that you actually do really like Preston, yet and still you don't want to deal with him dating other people. Like, it was completely just downright disrespectful. She tried to hook up Andy with some random person at the airport, basically called her a hoe. And I'm like, Danny has really done some trifling things to these women, not to mention the many disrespectful things that she has said to their faces. Now, there was also a great conversation that happened between Danny and Karen when Karen was going through her situation with Zach and how, Danny wanted her to see, like, baby, he has moved on. And who he is with Fatima is not going to be who he is with you. And I'm like, so she has no problem saying what she wants to say, how she wants to say it, in the manner and tone in which she chooses to dish it out. Yet, when I do honestly believe that there was no, other than Andy came in with the wrong attitude, the wrong energy. Yeah, you in here bringing these strays home, and you, like, her energy was not needed, especially when you're trying to get through to somebody. But the way that Danny responded is how a lot of people respond when people, bring up their concerns to them. I'm not a fan of trying to intentionally hurt somebody. And I feel like that's what Danny did. And I want to bring up this too, because a lot of people, which I saw on social media, were like applauding Danny for how she spoke to the women and the things that she said. Like, oh, Danny was right to tell them about themselves. Danny called them out. Danny hit them with the truth. And I'm just like, well, why is it okay for Danny to express herself like that? But when it comes to these women, they are not in a position to do the same thing. Now, what I will say is that Danny took what they were saying as judgment. They were judging her. And a lot of people were saying it in the comments too that I read. Oh, they judging Danny. They've always judged Danny. They've been judging Danny since season 1. And my thing is, it really made me see, or really is really making me wonder, how do people feel about their friends being able to call them out on things? Now, granted, I believe sometimes the first response is to be defensive. I get it. But then when you know where these people are coming from, they have your best interest at heart. And I shared a story on the video that I did concerning Danny. And sometimes we do need to check our friends, whether our lives are on the up and up or not, whether we are in positions that we shouldn't be in. It does not discredit us from showing natural and genuine concern for a friend who may be demonstrating, excuse me, destructive behavior. Danny is exhibiting destructive behavior that could possibly get her to the point of extreme injury or even worse. So I felt like this is interesting, seeing the different perspectives, how a lot of people felt like they really felt where the other girls were coming from. And there were a lot of people who felt like, well, they can't judge Danny. They don't have no space to tell Danny anything. And I was like, wow. So if your friend out here, that's like someone like Andy. Now, if her energy was different, yes, Andy is she's in a horrible position. But I don't think that severs her from showing or expressing concern for Danny. Like, you come to my job with shades on because you got hit and you got spat on and you think you killed somebody. I'm strong enough or I'm good enough for you to come to me seeking help for that. But then when I express my concern for you, now, oh, well, you mess with Scary Gary. And it's like, really? So I just always had an issue with, if I can't have a friendships or a sisterhood where I could come to my friends and tell them about, hey, this is what I've been noticing. I am concerned about this. I'm concerned about your safety. I'm concerned about, your emotional state is concerning for me. And my friend bring up, oh, well, you remember 5 years ago when you was, when you cheated on, and it's like, what? I cheated. No, I didn't cheat. I'm just using that as an example. But I'm just like, if my friend did that, what does that have to do with the matter at hand, ma'am? I'm concerned for you. I'm scared. And honestly, what it really boils down to, some people don't have the verbiage to say, is like, I'm scared. I'm scared at how you have been behaving. I'm scared. It's horrible for me to know that a man put his hands on you, that a man spit on you, that you almost took this man's life. Sis, I'm scared for what might happen next. And I think that sometimes when Tyler's writing, let these women go there. It's more than just, well, we your sisters and we ain't going nowhere. Even though I thought that was good, let's dig a little deeper. Let's dig a little deeper. It was needed in that moment. It really was. For Danny needs a wake-up call. She really does. And then this whole thing with her and Preston. Preston, why are you calling this on me? Oh, I left some stuff over there. No, you didn't. You got your stuff the last time. Tyler and this writing Jesus. Preston already got his stuff. You supposed to be meeting with Mindy. Why are you calling Danny? What's it, Preston? Just flip your ass on somewhere, bruh. I'm getting tired of you. I'm getting sick of you. However, the things that we were told in college, we were made aware that, Danny dealt with issues with her self-esteem. She dealt with her appearance, with her weight. There was a situation where she was almost sexually assaulted by, I think it was 3 guys. And I believe the sisters were the ones who intervened and helped her. And she was like, well, no, did you ever think that I was using those guys the way that they were using me? No, you were not using them. This was a way for you not to deal with your trauma. This was a way for Danny not to deal with her issue. So we got a little bit of insight into that. And then we see Danny be Danny. That's why it is so hard for me to like Danny. She's still my least favorite sister. Like, she probably will always have that title when it comes to me, because I find it very hard to like her. I really do. And I think in the earlier seasons, people would say, and I don't get me wrong, there were times Danny definitely kept it real, but Danny was definitely disrespectful. And I think that she used to get a pass because at that time, she was like the comedic relief. But I'm like, it doesn't mask the fact that you're being disrespectful and you're not owning up to your actions, and then you're also hurting the people that you say that you love as well. So I didn't like that. But that's how it ended. And then we see her trying to find her keys and she bounces. So that was it. Like I said, this episode, it just wasn't hitting on nothing, honestly. I think that the scene with the women was the best scene, but it was too short. The scene with Zach and Fatima was entirely too long in that darn break room, especially for us to get the end result that we did. I hated it. Tyler could have kept it. There's just no way for me to make this episode fun at all. It was just bad. It was just bad. But like I said, I'm gonna give Sisters a break for a minute because I'm gonna give it a break for a moment. I will review Zatima and some other shows. I'm gonna do my overall thoughts on All the Queen's Men, Harlem. I'm gonna review Zatima, Homecoming. For those who watch All American Homecoming, I got a whole bunch of thoughts about that. And for those who watch Kingdom Business as well, these are going to be like my overall thoughts because these shows, especially All the Queen's Men and Kingdom Business, I believe Kingdom Business especially has already been renewed for season 2, so I will review those episodes. But because season 1 has already ended, I'm just going to do my overall thoughts about it. So if there are any other shows that I don't watch a lot of TV, y'all. That's my issue. And then when I do watch TV, sometimes the shows become boring to me, or the writers make a pivot that is so like, why did y'all do that? That's how I feel about All American Homecoming. I haven't really watched the first All American in a minute, but I've been definitely consistent with Homecoming. I'm just kind of disappointed as the pivot that the writers made with that. But Sisters, I need a break for a minute, y'all. Let me just get like a couple days. And I will talk about some of the, I will make videos for some of the questions that you guys have sent me, and they have been really good. So I do appreciate it. Let me know y'all thoughts. What did y'all think about this season finale? I think, honestly, I don't know. Season 2, I believe, was my favorite. Was it season 2 or season 1? Was it season 1 where they met Fatima in the grocery store? No, I think that was season 2. So season 2 was my favorite season finale. All the rest of them has been poo-poo. But I want to thank you guys for listening. That's all I got, y'all. I'm sorry. That's all I got. Until next time, I will holler at y'all later. Y'all be safe out there. Bye.